Okay, so welcome back to In the Kitchen with Jelly 007.com for part 3 of his Kingsford Steakager with a 13.73 bone-in ribeye that I started 45 days ago. And today, as the app tells me, I am at 45 days. So what I'm going to do is bring it out and break it down, or whatever you want to call it, because I've never done it before. This is my first attempt. Now, I'm going to cut off the pellicle and all that and trim it down and cut it into steaks. And I may cook one tonight, I may not. I got in from work a little later than I meant to. So we're going to see how that goes, but I'm at least going to get them cut up. We're going to look at them, vacuum seal them, see how they look and feel. And, you know, and like I said, there's been a couple of issues. If you see my part 1 and my part 2, where the UV light went out on it at one point and the fan had to be turned and stuff like that. But, you know, I'm not mad at them. I mean, if this was a brand new, this was the first unit they shipped, I'm not going to say I expected trouble, but it doesn't make me mad that we had them, because I did buy it as a pre-sale almost unit. I got it a little cheaper because I bought it before they were being shipped. So, that being said, now you can look right here right quick. I'll say this, I got to get where I can make sure you can see what the app looks like. You may have seen it on other videos, but I've also got a tenderloin that has 6 days left. And then you see it says 35. Well, if you notice over here on my outdoor thermometer that I have inside, it says it's 40. So there's some discrepancies, kind of. The 51% humidity is dead on. And you can, if you want to look at, if you use one of these, you know the app works real well. I got no problem with the app. The thing about the 35 and the 40 could be that I've got my outdoor thermometer laying in the center of the unit and it's reading it up to the top. So nothing else. Again, I have no complaints. Even though I had to change the UV light a few weeks ago, it hasn't gave me any problems since. So that being said, I'm fixing to pull this out. We're going to cut it up and see how it looks. Y'all hang on just a second. I will be right back. Okay, so there it is, right out of the Steakager. It went in at 13.73. There it is at 11.72. So it lost 2 pounds in 45 days. Now, I've got a couple of knives laid out because I'm not sure what I'm going to use, being as I've never done it. I've watched some videos, but let's see what it looks like. It looks, if you ask me, exactly what one should look like, coming from a guy that's never held one. But I mean, it looks great. It smells great. I mean, I won't say great. It doesn't have a lot of smell, you know. I mean, it's got a smell. I almost want to put it on. I think, as crazy as it sounds, bread. I mean, it almost smells like bread. So anyhow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out by trimming each side of this, and then I'm going to cut between the bones. And I'm going to see how thick of steaks I get, and I'm okay with an 1.5 inch, 2 inch steak. I'm okay with it because I'm going to sous vide, most likely, the steaks anyhow. And with sous vide, if you're familiar with it, you put it, you cook it, and it gets to the temp you want. If it's thick, you just leave it in there a little longer. And then all you do is sear the sides. So, I mean, if you were going to pan fry, it might be different, and I may do some of that. So once I cut some of these and see how thick they are, if they're thicker than I want, I'm going to trim the bone off somehow and then slice it. The thickness is, you know, a normal thickness of 1.25 inches, maybe 1.5 inches. But to start with, just to get this going, I'm going to cut between these bones, at least 2 of them, and see what I get. So, I want to throw in this right quick too. Nobody's paying me to say anything I've said tonight, and I don't know why I feel like I need to say that. I mean, I was kind of bragging on the Steakager. That's because I honestly feel that way. Nobody's paid me, nobody's gave me anything. This is all my honest opinion. So, I will get some of this started, and I'll be right back. Y'all hang on just a second. Okay, I decided to go ahead and run the camera while I'm cutting it. There's no need not to. I can edit it out if it goes too long. I mean, there's all I've done is that little piece right there. So, I'm just trying to cut without going on the other side of that bone yet. And there it is. And there's what it looks like there. So, I'm going to try and come up with a way. And like I said, I may not leave the camera running because I think I'm going to come in from here, or maybe I'll edit it out if it takes forever. I'm going to do it like this right here. I'm going to come right here and just get this pellicle. Some of the hard, I'm sure if you're watching this, you've watched them before also, so there's no need me explaining what I'm doing. You know. And all I'm doing is trying to get the stuff you couldn't eat off of it. But it's looking excellent. Let's see. And it's going to be good. I have a serious feeling that's going to be some good eating. So, like I said, I may take my time a little bit. I'm not going to get in a great big hurry. I'm just going to trim it because, like I said, I've never done it before. This is brand new. There's no secret that I don't think you can tell by looking that I haven't. But I mean, you know what? It's like, I think I got like $100, I don't remember, invested in this. And I'm fixing to have, I assure you, some of the best high-end meat that you can get. So, I am going to cut between those bones, and I'm going to get that set up. I'm going to move some of this out of the way, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I know if you've watched videos, I probably don't have to show this, but that bone right there needs to come out from between here. I used this knife right here, which is kind of sharp pointed, and I just kind of went deep, and it was a little deeper than I thought. I cut right here and went down beside that to get in there, but here's why. It's a pretty deep bone, or it is on this particular one, and you can see you've got to get fairly deep in there to get that out. So you can cut right beside here. So anyhow, now you know. All right, we're going to cut one off just like this. I'm going to stay close to that bone and try and get going right here. And I think this is going to work good. Let's see. Come right here and this is an 8-inch chef knife I'm using now. Honestly, a 10-inch might be a little better. I've got a other knife that might work, but there's nothing wrong with the way that looks. Now that's my first ever steak I've ever cut from a dry aged primal or ribeye roast. So we'll see how I do on the second one. But I think I could get away with that. I may try. We'll see. Anyhow, not get ahead of myself. I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so I'm going to change up a little bit because I've only watched a couple of videos. Like I said, I've watched them a couple of times, but after I got those out, and they were not that bad. You can see, I mean, especially the further I got down to this end, they were a little easier. Those are tucked under there a little better. So what I'm thinking about doing is going ahead and removing the bone. Although I think I could get pretty much a perfect steak right here, but there's no reason not to remove the bone, I think. So, I'm going to use this one. I'm just going to try to come under here and stay as close as I can. And I'm going to cut this bone out, and this looks to me the way to do it. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Again, I've only watched a couple of videos, but the ones I watched did not do it this way. So, I don't know what that's got to do with it. I'm just saying, I think it's better to have the bone removed. And if I can move it a piece at a time, and you can see, and that's all going to make whatever it is, the pellicle, they do things with it. So I'm going to put all this together, and I'm going to use all that. It's not even wasted meat. So I intend to do that all the way down through here. So let's see how quick it goes right here. I mean, the 8-inch chef might be the knife to use, but you know what? It's a little wide, and I got a couple, so I'm going to try this one. My dog, you hear him outside? I think he can smell this. It smells good. It does. It's got a good smell to it, and I think this might be the way I'm going to do it for now until I learn a little bit more about what I'm doing. But there you go. And now I can slice those whatever thickness I want, and I'm going to continue to do that right down through here. But for video time purposes, I'm gonna do that and I'll come back to y'all. Okay, so I mean, it definitely was simple. Once these are gone, or maybe even before, it might be the way to do it is come under here and, you know, watch videos besides mine on how to do it. But, and then all I got to do is trim this right here off, right here. This side looks pretty good. Of course, I'm going to cut this off and put it in this pile over here to do, I've got to do a little research. I'm going to freeze it for now. So all we got here pretty much is to trim up, clean up these edges, you know. It looks simple enough. I mean, I was a little intimidated. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know it's something you should be intimidated by. So I'm going to come down through here, keep my hand a little low. I'm gonna slice that off. I'm going to right down through here. I know you can't see that from the wrong side of the meat, but it's obvious. I mean, all you're doing is cutting off the brown or discolored, you know, and somewhat dried or hard meat. It's common sense. That's really all it is. I don't think this is as complicated as one might think, especially for what they charge for dry age. So I'm going to do one more cut right here while I got the camera running. But I mean, you tell me, that's pretty, for the guy, the first time a guy's ever done it, that works. And I mean, I'm going to take my time a little bit right here. I'm probably going to pretty much cut this right here all the way off because it's the fat. You know, you can see right here, that's what it is on this end, and that's what it is on this end. So I'm going to trim that off just like this. I don't want to get hasty. I'm going to slow down a little bit, but I think once I cut that, there's not going to be a lot left to trim this right here. So I'll bring y'all back in a minute. We're going to see what some cut up steaks look like. Okay, just because I can. There's all I did, just what I said. And that is done. Like you said, it's all fat. That whole, it's the tip, you know, it's the tail. So I may trim, I'm not going to right now. All I got to do now is this right here. And I'm not going to lie. I'm impressed with how easy, or I'm shocked at how easy this is. It's just not that big a deal. And I was really intimidated. So I did cut a little deep right there. But you know what? Not really, because that probably needed to come off anyhow. You can see what I lost. Nothing tragic. It wasn't tragic. And there's what I got. So now all I got to do is either vacuum seal this whole piece and slice it as I need it, or slice them and vacuum seal them. So, like I said, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so say you did it the other way, which was cut at the bone, it would just be, well, it is a little more different. You just come the same way I did it while it was on the roast. You just cut right. It's probably a better way, but me not knowing what I'm doing. For a guy that not knowing what he's doing, though, I mean, I'm not complaining with the way it looks. I'm gonna cut to sear my steak in, and I've done that before with not a dry aged steak. So I'm just gonna cut off the brown and the hard looking meat and not make a big deal out of it and not make it all that complicated. I mean, it's just not. It's just not. I mean, the only, you know, at one time, I mean, I did kind of question myself when I got hasty there and cut that bottom piece off. But if you look, I didn't waste anything. That had to come off, and it's still not wasted because you can see what I'm going to freeze right over there. And I'm going to weigh this in a minute and see what the end result from 13.73 is, and that's what it will be right there. And it's going to be a lot of loss, but that's why when you go to a restaurant, it's, I don't know, minimum 50, a lot of times 80, you know. But anyhow, be right back. Okay, so the way I see it is completely trimmed down, and as far as I'm going with it, I may have went a little further than a lot of restaurants would have went. There's nothing I've done that hurt it. It's just a lot of times they don't do all I've done. But long story short, 5 pounds, 10 ounces of meat left from, I'm pretty sure it was $100 roast or loin. So, you know, you're looking at, I'm going to do some math, but 5 pounds, 10 ounces. You know what? Just say it was 5 pounds. Even if it was just 5 pounds. That would be at $100 for the whole roast when I started. That would make your yield $20 a pound. So, and it's nowhere near that because I'm 5 pound, 10 ounces. So somewhere around, you know, $17, $18 a pound. That's my point. So if you look at it that way, you know, $17, $18 a pound, even $20 a pound, and you take an 1 3/4 steak, 1 5/8, it weighs 13 ounces. That makes that steak somewhere around $16, maybe $17. You know, I had to do the math on it with a calculator, obviously, but you'll not find a 45-day aged steak anywhere around where I'm from for $16. So I'm probably vacuum sealing them. It's kind of late, so tomorrow night, if I don't change my mind, because I am dying to eat that one right there. But if I don't change my mind, back tomorrow night, we'll see how they taste. Okay, so I've kind of decided to go ahead and cook it tonight. It's going to put me in the bed a little later than I like because I'm going to have to sous vide it for probably 45 minutes to an hour at 128. And then I'm going to sear it. So no big deal there. I'm going to do it. I mean, I can't wait to taste it. It's got a good smell. It's got a good, I'd say nutty, you know. I mean, like I said, when I first put it out, it had a bread. To me, I don't know, it just smelled like bread. And that's still there just a little bit. So, long story short, I'm fixing to vacuum seal. I'm going to go ahead and vacuum seal this hole and cut it up and use it. The Super Bowl's this weekend. It's Thursday night, or it's not. Yeah, it is. It's Thursday night. So I'm going to vacuum seal it whole. And as I need them, I'll cut them the thickness as I want them for the person that's eating them. And it's going to be great. But that is getting ate tonight. So I'll be right back. Okay, so here goes my 45-day aged ribeye. Around, you know, $16, $17. Like I said, I haven't done that math yet. 129 degrees is what I'm cooking it at. I'm going to sous vide that for 1 hour, and I'm going to pan sear it in a black iron skillet, and I'm looking really forward to my first at-home dry aged steak for well under $20. Be back. Okay, so here is where we are. I've got my ribeye roast vacuum sealed and ready for a Super Bowl Sunday or whenever I determine to eat it. And I may do the whole roast, and I may cut it into pieces, may do it on a green egg. You know, it'd be excellent on the green egg, but anyhow, here's the pellicle that I'm going to freeze till I, you know, research a little bit and figure out exactly what I'm going to do with it. I did package or vacuum seal the bones different because I used a heavy duty game style bag that kind of handles bones because they'll poke holes in it, obviously. Now I'm going to cut this up. I'm not sure I kept out enough, but I think it should be plenty. And if it's not, I'll add butter or something or bacon fat. But I'm going to cut this up into smaller pieces and melt that in that black iron skillet that I've got outside. I've already got it ready. I just got to get it hot. I'm going to look for about 400 degrees or so. It's been in the sous vide at 129 for a little over an hour. I'm not in a hurry. You can leave it in a sous vide for up to 4 hours from what I've read. You know, anywhere, it's probably good now after an hour, but I'm not in a hurry. I got other things I'm doing here tonight. I got a big project going on in my kitchen. So long story short, I'm going to let that sit till I'm ready to cook it. And the skillet is outside. That's the only problem. My watch says right now that it's 27 degrees outside. Now sometimes my camera has problems out in that temperature. So I may try it, but may not get it. Just letting you know. So I'll just show you while I'm pan searing that right there. If not, we'll bring it back in here. And you're going to get to see me take a bite of it and see what I think of it. So y'all bear with me, and I'll be right back. Okay, so there's a skillet set up. It's about 450, depending on where you put the infrared, 450, 500. And it might be a little cooler than I'd like. I'd like to hear a little more sizzle, but it'll be fine. There's no reason to think something's wrong, because it's getting hot in a hurry. I'm more worried about the camera shutting down, but it's working. This is the way Sous Vide is excellent at what we're doing. So you can see the pieces of fat that are still there from the where I trimmed, and now it's starting to sizzle a little. So I had it on that side, kind of let it get, try to keep it around 350 degrees till you're ready to use it. And we're going to sear all the sides. I've also got a torch here. As long as the camera will stay with me, we're going to do that. And the fire looks pretty good. I can go up just a little bit. And like I said, I was having a little issue with gas flow earlier. It was I had to do some heating on some things, some valves. Let's see what it looks like, just because we can. And you can see, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. That's what a sous vide steak does. Let's see where we're at on that. That's 500 degrees right there. That's 570, 600. So a lot of times what I do is burn the edges. I get the sides. You don't have to do it this way, obviously. You can stand it on the sides, but you can also take this torch and sear your sides with the torch. Okay, so for the real test of the 45-day, and I've got some flake salt, which is excellent, by the way. And by the way, too, we're redoing Jelly's kitchen in there, so I'm having to do things from it in here, which is nothing wrong with this. I just I'm a little out of my ordinary place. So as you can see, though, you know what? Before I cut it, I want to show you how it looked, because that is what a sous vide does. And when you sear it, it's an excellent way to cook a steak. I mean, you can get it whatever you want. You get everything you want. You get the temperature you want inside, and then it doesn't do a lot. You know, it doesn't get a lot of time on the high heat, but it works. You know, that's all I'll say. Let's cut it in half. And it is a little, it's a little done, not bad, but I mean, it's 27 degrees outside and it's pitch dark. I'm trying to work, but I mean, it doesn't look bad. It's a little dunner than I would like, but it'll work. I guarantee you. The main thing I want to see is how this 45-day steak tastes. And we're about to find out. It's tender. It's good. And it kind of lets you right out of the gate know why people do it. That's excellent. I mean, it just is. And to have a ribeye at your house, cooked the way you want it, and under $20 with 45-day of aging on it is it's really impressive to be able to do it with, you know, I think that $500 machine or so, and it's excellent. Again, excellent, under $20, and this is probably I don't know, minimum $50 at a steakhouse. And like I said, it's been a little trying. That's my very first. This is it. This is the maiden voyage. I mean, first time I've ever broke one down. It's the first time I ever cut one up. It's the first time I've ever cooked one, and actually, the first time I've ever, aged one. So I got no complaints. I'm not going to put any more in my mouth because it's kind of hard to talk and chew these. But I mean, it's tender. It's great. There's nothing wrong with it. And to me, it's worth it. Like I said, there were some issues with the Kingsford Steakager, but again, it's a brand new. It was out. I got one of the first ones before they were even shipping. Everybody got them, but a lot of people were a little ticked with some of the issues I had. And you know what? Maybe they released them a little early, I guess, or offered them to the public a little early. But you got to expect some issues with something when you're buying it before it's put out. And again, I sound like I'm covering for them. I'm not. Nobody's paying me. That's just my opinion. And I'm just really, really happy to have a way to do a aged steak in my house, at home. So anyhow, I get off this. Thumbs up on a 45-day. It tastes great. It smells like, and it did cutting it up, and I don't know if I'm picking up this bread flavor, but it smelled like, I go to Publix and I buy my breads, and I buy like a Chicago Italian loaf. I don't know why, but that's what I always buy. And it reminded me of that. I've never heard that before. It's just what it reminded me of. I'm fixing to eat this steak. Y'all have a good night. Thank you very much. Kingsford Steakager. That was part 3. I've got a filet mignon in there that comes out in 6 days. So I may do that. I may not, but I may video it. I'm going to eat it. But anyhow, y'all have a good night. Thank you for watching my videos. Come back to see me. Like, share, subscribe, all the above. Jelly007.com. Y'all have a good night. Bye-bye.